Thank you, Madam Clerk. Seeing as it is 11:05, we are ready to start this meeting. I see that the meeting is being recorded. Clerk, can you confirm that the live stream is successful?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. We now call the mock meeting hybrid meeting to order. Please note that this mock meeting is being live streamed and recorded for quality and training purposes. We also ask any on-site guests wishing to give public comment to sign in. We ask council members, staff, and panelists to use their microphones when they wish to speak, but promptly mute themselves when finished. Will the clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember Robb,
Present.
Councilmember Mora,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Tila,
Present.
Mayor Anastasia.
Present. Thank you. We now move on to the flag salute. We ask you to join us in the flag salute. We now move on to the approval of the agenda. Are there any council members opposed to the agenda approval? Seeing that there are none opposed, the agenda will stand approved. We will now move on to public comments. We will be hearing from our on-site guests first, followed by our virtual attendees. If you're on site, please make sure you've been signed in to speak. This is an opportunity to express your views on issues that are important to you and to the community. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. If you're attending virtually, right now is the right time to raise your hand and we can get you into the queue. Madam Clerk, do we have any on-site guests wishing to speak?
Yes, we do. We have Dean who would like to give public comment.
Any others?
Bryan Randall.
Dean, Mr. Randall, would you like to give public comment?
Yes, thank you for hearing me. We are now move on to public comments. We will be hearing from our on-site guests, followed by our virtual attendees. If you're on site, please make sure you have signed in to speak. This is an opportunity to express your views. Thank you. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Randall. Dean?
Hello, I'm here for public comment for the beautiful city of Kenmore. And apparently I have 3 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in my comment period that I will pass on because I do not have anything particular to say. Although I can stay here and talk about my day. Just got my Ethernet connection working, so now I can adjust the audio levels. You want me to fill the time or?
No, well, this is not therapy. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, any other on-site public comments today?
We have no on-site public comments. No, we have what? No more on-site public comments, but we do have virtual.
Thank you. Are there any virtual guests wishing to speak? If you would like to speak, please raise your hand now. Madam Clerk, would you call the first person, please?
We have Lauren Homiak.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Hi, I'm here to give a public comment that I'm checking out this Zoom portion of the public comment. And also wanted to let you know that I did call into the Zoom phone number, but it did not give me an option to raise my hand. So I raised my hand virtually through my computer instead. So just an FYI on that. That's the end of my comment.
Clerk, is there anyone else wishing to speak?
I see no other hands.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
Oh, sorry, I see one more hand raised.
Richard Sawyer?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
I was just going to provide public comment that I could not hear the on-site public comment. That is my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Sawyer. Was it faint or was it complete? You couldn't hear anything at all?
The first commenter was very faint, and the second commenter, I could not make out what was being said.
Okay, thank you for your feedback.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, is there anyone else wishing to speak?
Yes, I see one more hand raised. Bryan Hampson.
Hey, is it my turn yet?
Yes, it is.
I was just going to say that I heard both on-site public comments perfectly clear. That's my comment.
Thank you, sir. The plot thickens. Madam Clerk, is there anyone else wishing to speak?
I see, oh, well, hold one more hand, one moment. Nicole Sawyer.
Can you guys hear me?
Very faintly.
Can you hear me now? Can you see me?
Yes, we see you and hear you.
Okay. It did kick me out for a minute when I was promoted. I don't know if that's supposed to happen.
Yes.
Okay. And then just FYI, the timer it takes up the whole screen. Is that correct?
Yes,
All right.
for now.
Those are my comments. And I could hear both Bryan and the other person that spoke at the podium as well.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment.
Yep.
At this point, it looks like we have concluded our public comment portion of the meeting. We're going to go ahead and remove the timer and move on. The next item on the agenda is the proclamation. And I will issue the mock meeting proclamation as the presiding officer. Whereas hybrid meetings are a good thing, and whereas the purpose of today's mock meeting is to test the following requirements. Can the clerk be heard by all? Can the presiding officer, AKA the chairperson, be heard and seen? Can the presiding officer see all council members on site and virtually, so as to recognize them? Can the council members see and hear all on-site presentations? Can the council members hear and see all off-site presentations? Can the council hear in-person comments? Can the council hear virtual comments? Can the public see and hear their entire council? Can the public hear and see the presentations? Is the meeting able to be recorded, and is the meeting able to be live streamed? Now, therefore, let us continue with the meeting and revisit these very questions before we adjourn. We now move on to the regular agenda. The first item on the agenda is the Finance Department slideshow presented by our accountant, Bryan Randall. Mr. Randall?
Yes, thank you for your time today. So on your screen, you should be seeing the Finance and Administration Department presentation that was done a couple of weeks ago at a staff meeting.
Mr. Randall, could you give me just one moment to get your presentation loaded? Thank you, we're good.
Thank you. As mentioned on your screen, you should see the Finance and Admin Department presentation that was done at an all-staff meeting a month or two ago. Since most of you have heard it already, I'm not gonna speak to it, but I am going to go through all the slides to make sure you are seeing all the slides and to see if there's any delay on the presentation between a virtual and in person. So I'm just going to go ahead and cycle through the slides. And there will be 15 of them. That concludes the Finance and Admin presentation. If you were not able to see all 15 slides, please let your city clerk know after the meeting that you were not able to see them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Randall. Does the city council members have any discussion on this item? Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Randall. I was told there would be candy bars. So that's the question. Where are those?
Please check your desk later this afternoon. No guarantees, though.
Thank you.
And I do not see any hands raised by Councilmember Robb or Councilmember Mora, but I will check in with them one more time. Do you have any discussion on this topic? If so, raise your hand.
I thought it was an outstanding presentation.
Thank you.
And I do agree. Having no further discussion, we'll move on to business item number B, letter B. Tree regulations in Kenmore presented by our Development Services Director, Bryan Hampson, and I have been informed that that has moved to a virtual mode. Madam Clerk, would you please connect us to Mr. Hampson? And we'll ask Mr. Hampson to share his presentation.
Mr. Hampson, you are a panelist and able to share your screen. Go ahead.
Can you guys see me?
Oh, yes. And you
Okay.
can see us seeing you.
I can
think.
see you seeing me. Yes, I can. So would you like me to share my presentation from my screen or?
Yes, please.
Let me know when you can see it.
We can see it, but it isn't in presentation mode. We do see the document.
How do you do presentation mode?
Try going to view, first enable editing.
Mhm.
Oh, maybe not view.
Or
Go to
Up at the-
slideshow.
Go to
at the
slideshow.
top, that little like
Yeah, go from the
square with
beginning.
the arrow in the middle.
There you are. Beautiful. You're there, Mr. Hampson. We're ready
There
for
we
you.
are. Okay, this is Samantha Loyak. I'm a senior planner and a certified arborist. I'm here to give a presentation on the Kenmore tree regulation, the code amendments that we need to make. The proposed code amendments are these 5 that we have. One is to change the definition of a significant tree. 2 is to revise the tree retention requirements to certain nuisance species. 3 is to codify the tree removal application process in our code. 4 is to update the removal penalty language for consistency throughout the code. And 5 is to have a tree removal permit valid for shorter periods of time. That is my presentation. Are there any questions?
Council members, are there questions for Mr. Hampson? Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Hampson, or Miss Loyuk, I guess. Where was the picture taken on the first page of the slideshow?
That picture is of the first trees that I want to cut down. I think it's right outside of City Hall. I can't find it anymore, but yeah, the picture, the trees in the picture are the trees that I want to start cutting down.
Thank you.
Is that okay?
I think that's acceptable for now, yes.
Okay.
Councilmember Rob?
I did not see any exemptions in the ordinance for council members or the city manager. Can you speak to that, please?
That's number 6. That's going to be on round 2, where we give council members and the city manager full permission to go ahead and remove all trees in the city.
Okay, I look forward to seeing that provision.
Okay.
Mr. Hampson, sounds like we might need to see you again in the near future with the provisions requested. But that does conclude this topic. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Great.
Oh, hold on 1 second. We have a special request that you keep talking.
Okay, I'll keep talking. What's for lunch? It's almost 12 o'clock, so we gotta be having some kind of lunch here. I was thinking of soup and sandwich. Does that sound good? Councilmember Tila? I can't really
Like a
speak.
pick to Panera. I'd
There
be
you
good
go.
with that. Yeah, yeah. Send it here. That's where I'll be.
Okay, are you good with
Thank
it?
you. Yes,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you for your commentary. Okay, we appreciate you. Moving on to our next item on the agenda. We have a study session to discuss the police services report presented by our police chief, Brandon Moen. This is also a virtual presentation and we'll stand by while Mr. Moen joins us.
Hello.
Hello.
I am now I got a notification that I was in presentation mode. However, it should be noted that about 10 minutes ago, I got a notice asking if I wanted to be unmuted and talk. And then so I've had the opportunity to talk for probably the last 10 minutes or so before I was in presentation or panelist mode. For what it's worth. I will bring up my presentation now. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Yes, I know you can because I can see it on the screen. Okay, these are a series of slides that have lots of pictures and colors, words, charts, and lots of things of varying importance. There's pictures of cars and bicycles and criminals and some projects that we're working on and some other projects we're working on, and some other projects, and some other things, and another chart, and some more crime statistics, some pictures of drugs, and some more charts, and some more charts, and some more charts. And when I click the advanced button and I look at the screen, I would say the delay is maybe a half a second, if that, on the screen in the council chambers. So it's pretty quick. And there's more charts, and more charts, and more charts, more charts, more charts, and a map. And more colors of orange and yellow. And that concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions. Now Richard's outside my window trying to make me laugh.
Thank you. That was a piece of unnecessary information, but we appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Let's go ahead and stop your screen share so I can recognize my fellow council members.
There we go.
Thank you. Now, it sounds like this is a topic of discussion, so is there anyone that would like to comment on that presentation?
I think it was a lovely presentation. Thank you so much.
I found it riveting as well.
Point of order, I had my hand up.
Well, thank you. We will we will stick with council member decorum here. It is time for the council to deliberate. So Dean, seeing as how you are not part of the council, can you please limit your comments to public comment section? Thank you. Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Chief Moen, for the wonderful, colorful presentation. As a council member, I really love to see all the graphs and charts. An actual real question, when is National Night Out this year?
National Night Out will be Wednesday, August 3rd. Rather than being on a Tuesday, it will be on Wednesday and done in conjunction with the farmer's market on that night. So we will have a captive audience of people at the farmer's market that will also get to enjoy National Night Out. So August 3rd at 6 p.m.
Is there any further discussion on this? In that case, I would actually like to make a motion. I'd like to entertain a motion that Mr. Moen return to us with a presentation actually informing us of what those charts mean. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing no discussion on the motion, seeing how we have a first and a second, would the clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember Robb,
Aye.
Councilmember Mora,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Tila,
No.
Mayor Anastasia.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moen. We will now move on to our next item on the agenda. Thank you again. We'll see you later. The next item on the agenda is the staff report. Are there any staff that have a report for us today? Seeing no staff reports, we'll move on to council member reports and comments, and I'll start in the order in which I see you. Council member Robb.
I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
Councilmember Mora.
I have nothing this evening as well.
Deputy Mayor.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
And I just have one comment before we move on to our checklist, and that is that I want to express sincere gratitude to our two clerks today, Rita and Sammy. This is our first time in this space, much less a hybrid space, and we appreciate their preparation and them being here today running the logistics. Before we conclude the meeting, I'd like my council members and staff to go through the same checklist and help brainstorm whether or not we've met the requirements. Was the clerk heard by people on site and people virtually? On site?
Yes.
How about our virtual attendees? If the clerk was heard on site, you can raise your hand. Thank you. Was the presiding officer able to see all council members so as to be able to recognize them? What I have determined is that the presiding officer in hybrid format can only recognize council members as long as their video is on, projecting either a photo or their own video. If they have video deactivated, they do not show on my screen, and I cannot recognize them to speak. Can the council and participants hear and see off-site presentations? I'd like to hear Councilmember Mora and Councilmember Robb weigh in on this.
Yes, I was able to see the presentation.
Looks like that's the affirmative from Councilmember Robb as well. Can the council hear off-site public comment? Deputy Mayor?
Yes.
And I too was able to clearly see and hear the presentations of Mr. Hampson and Chief Moen. Now a few questions for the clerks. Is the recording successful?
Yes.
Thank you. And was the live stream successful?
Yes.
And just to verify, can someone please check on YouTube that the live stream is still going before we adjourn the meeting? Okay, we're standing by. Okay, we verified the live stream is active and going. Taking stock of the progress made and the fine tuning that still needs to occur, I now declare the meeting adjourned. Clerk, you may stop the recording and the live stream. Okay, thank you everyone for participating. We can now discuss any bugs, any issues, any comments, and we'll promote everybody that was an attendee to the space so everyone has the ability to raise their hand and talk if you want to offer something. Otherwise, you're welcome to leave, and thank you so much for participating with us.